Alright, welcome everyone to another host. We are going to get going here with Frank versus Not Quite Normal, Medusa versus Luke Cage on Sanctum Sanctorum, and this is also between Globo Gym and Fists of Conchu. Hey, mitosis in chat. We had some audio issues, so it's just going to be me for commentary, but this should be an interesting one. One that can go either way, in my experience. Luke has to watch out for a few things. He doesn't have to worry as much about the um, Gaze of Stones, because if he takes a Gaze of Stone, his ability to reduce the damage by 2 means that Medusa does not win, and does not do the after combat 8 damage. That being said, on an item map, that does change a little bit, because Luke cannot just safely take an attack, even if it's a +1, because it might be a gaze with an item, and that would be a disaster. And Misty also has to watch out for those, since one of her blocks is only 2 value defense, and actually her Daughter of the Dragon is as well if she's not adjacent, and Medusa can attack from range, of course. The big thing, though, and the reason that Luke can't really take attacks just the whole game, even when he isn't being attacked with an item, is because second shot is a 3 that can be boosted by up to 4, since Medusa has several boost 4s in the deck. Probably going to want to use Gaze over Momentary Glance, because Glance is auto damage, and that's really good against Luke. But the second shot can still do 5 damage over his ability fully boosted, and Luke only has 13 health and no healing. So, the you really want to line up your trash talks into the second shots, and if you don't, and Medusa can get like 1 or 2 of those through, like if you can't trash talk, you obviously want to block with like Power Man, because that's going to be your most damage reduction, especially if you can get like a token on defense, but most of the time you're going to want to try to use the token on offense as Luke if you can. Especially because there's a couple things you can attack with that, even if Medusa feints to stop the token from boosting up your value, you're still going to be taking a lot of damage, namely Sweet Christmas, which is still 4 damage over a feint if you're using a token for it. Meanwhile, Medusa does have 16 health, but those Sweet Christmases are guaranteed to get 2 damage over Medusa's best defense if she doesn't have an item token. And the commanding impacts are guaranteed to get 1, and the problem is between 2 Sweet Christmases, 3 commanding impacts, potentially 2 Daughter of the Dragons, and the 3 Hero for Hires, Medusa only has so many tools to reduce that damage. Feint can help against Hero for Hire, but is pretty bad into commanding and Sweet Christmas, so you have to really call those out correctly. And then you only have 3 Hiss and Slithers, which are your 4 value blocks, otherwise everything else is a 3. So 16 health is going to get you a ways, but it's going to melt quickly if Luke can put out enough pressure. The nice thing for Medusa on this map is that there are no hard zone cutoffs. So if Luke goes in to attack, Medusa's going to be able to ping him, because he doesn't have any movement effects on his cards. Misty does have pushback, but that's it. And so Medusa will be able to get those pings in. And throughout the course of the game, that can add up, of course, because Medusa essentially she gets 4 damage from her momentary glances, and she wants to try to get at least 1 good second shot through, and then she needs to find the rest of her damage through chip damage or pings, and chip damage could come from her 3s if Luke does not block, because there are sometimes Luke's not going to want to block, or maybe if he blocks with a skin like titanium. And we see here a Clutching Claws go into a pushback from Misty, so Misty does take 1, and then Luke's going to have to discard a card, is choosing to discard Get Paid. Of course, Medusa can also play for Exhaustion, because she has a pretty good Exhaustion game overall, especially if she can attack with her Harpies and from range to, essentially have passes between that and her schemes, the Revive and the Momentary Glance. And now that Luke has pulled this Harpy into his zone here, or to adjacency rather, with Misty's pushback, we are going to see him attack. Positioning for Harpies needs to be careful if you're attacking Luke because Power Man can potentially kill multiple, and they are valuable resources. Getting those discards off with Clutching Claws is usually pretty nice. Also, if Luke does not block a Harpy attack, he can also hit with or get hit with the Hounds of Zeus, which does 2 damage if he doesn't block. That can also be fairly good into Misty, because she's taking some damage, or she's using like one of her big cards, like the Daughter of the Dragon. The swap with Luke is also very interesting. The Misty defense got my back that swaps her with Luke and makes Luke the defender. That's usually pretty good into most things that Medusa can throw. Of course, second shot is the worst one, though I feel like you're probably not using second shots on Misty all that often. You might commit one at some point to maybe finish her off. But it is a big opportunity cost since Luke can negate most of your damage from other cards. Though with the +2 token, with the gaze, it's actually not safe to swap with Luke, because if Medusa attacks with a 4-value gaze and it got my back, you can't swap to Luke. I mean, you can, but you take 9 damage and you probably lose on the spot, because that's actually just the 2 glances need to be used after that to do the remaining 4 HP. And if Misty doesn't swap, she still takes the 1 over the 3 or the 1, or she takes 3 over the 1 value block, because she doesn't get the defense bonus like Luke does, and then she would die to the after combat. So the fact that +2 is up there in the purple is actually pretty good for Luke, I feel, because it's the one that probably restricts Medusa the most. Though if Luke does aggress her up there at some point, he does need to keep that in mind. Of course, Daughter of the Dragon stops that from being an issue. Power Man or Trash Talk stops it if Luke is being attacked by the +2. Okay, we see Medusa coming forward, maybe throwing an attack out here at Misty. Puts the Harpies back on the item tokens just to deny that value for Luke, which I like. We'll see what Medusa attacks with here. Needs to be careful of another pushback, potentially, but there is only 2 in the deck, and Misty's already used one, so it's not as much of a threat. I could see this being a gaze, just trying to catch an undefended attack. It does have the other pushback, though. Okay, it gets a dash. This is nice for Medusa, because 1 damage to Misty. Misty's going to be able to move Medusa first, but then Medusa's going to be able to move right away again. And it's both 3 spaces, so Medusa can just end up back where she is, or somewhere else, depending on where she wants to go. We'll see where she elects to move. She can go through that Harpy, yeah, and go here if she wants. Don't think there's anywhere that she can be that isn't within or outside of single maneuver of Luke, and also forces a ping if he goes after the Harpy. So we've seen a little bit of chip damage onto Misty from the 3s, which I think is quite nice, because you do want her out of the way. If you can force Luke to be the one to come in, you're going to get that ping damage throughout the course of the game, and at that point you just need to survive enough combat interactions that you can ping him enough to finish him off with the glances and a second shot that gets through a Trash Talk. And Luke's probably just going to keep trying to clear out these Harpies, I would imagine. Would be an interesting time for still standing. Harpy's less likely to block. Though you could decide to use the +1 on defense if you have a Clutching Claws or a Hounds, just to keep the Harpy alive.
Sorry, just confirming you're attacking the Harpy with Luke.
I could see using the +1 with a Claws, because this is likely a 4. Ooh, okay, interesting.
Nice. Take 1.
So maybe trying to stop the regroup again from being an issue. Unfortunately, a bit of a waste of the token. That being said, using the token with the Harpy means that Luke cannot use it at some point, so that's still reasonable, I feel. Even if it was, playing a regroup to try and have the Harpy, or just to kill the Harpy again. I think it's less likely because Luke would have overdrawn in that case. So it might have just been a case of wanting to cycle the card regroup, not amazing, of course, although it can be a pretty good bait attack to try to catch like trash talks or whatnot to eventually clear the way for your second shots. Looks like we're probably just gonna see more aggression onto Misty. Attack at Misty with Medusa. Misty is gonna block once more. Maybe the got my back now. Ooh, trash talk, okay. Okay. I think you're fine with that, ultimately. It does take away one of your 4 value boosts, so that is notable. But it's a trash talk out of the way that didn't go into a second shot. See what Luke wants to do here. He's not going to be within maneuver range of Luke to be able to swing in, but Misty can. Misty can do some nasty mind games, of course, with the Daughter of the Dragon. She can go adjacent, and she could attack with Commanding Impact to try and catch out a feint, get 3 damage over a feint. Oh, looks like it was a double maneuver. My bad. I must have mistaken the card counts. Oh yeah, because Luke was at 6, right? And then... Yeah, makes sense. Ooh, okay. Getting a bit aggressive here, perhaps? Still can't attack Luke. But it does put you... The interesting thing about the positioning here for Misty is that unless Medusa goes here, she is adjacent to Misty, so that potentially gives Misty double attack opportunities with Daughter of the Dragon, which seems bad.
Gosh.
I don't hate using a second shot here if you have a good boost for it. Just because you already saw one trash talk. Is Misty gonna use another one? If she uses the got my back, then that puts Luke in a spot where he doesn't want to swap.
I'm going to...
See, definitely considering his options here. The Brazier can be nice for both fighters, of course. Luke to get a where's my money, get a double attack turn off if he ends on this and then is able to warp, especially once all the harpies are gone. Medusa can't stop that.
I was here, right?
And then for Medusa, she has the harpy revive. She also has the momentary glance.
Yeah.
What was the last maneuver I had done was...
So I'm going to,
This is a very crucial spot.
We're gonna go with this. I'm gonna attack Misty.
Misty?
Yeah. I can't attack Luke, am I? I'm not in red, am I?
True, no you're not. That's right, you can attack.
Yeah, this is a weird cutoff zone. It looks like there's like a... What is this? Like a pillar? Yeah, it looks like a pillar in the way. So those are not within range, even though they're quite close. Okay. Catches the feint, or not catches the feint, uses a feint to catch the trash talk. So that's 2 trash talks down and no second shots used yet. Of course, that's not the only trash talks Luke can have access to, because he can cycle them
attack you back with Misty.
with still standing, which we might see here. Misty is attacking, could be a commanding as well. I think we see a hiss here if there's an option. Yep. Wanting to stop the still standing at all costs. Ditching a got my back. An interesting thing about the got my back is if Misty had blocked with that, hers goes first since it's an immediate, just like feint, so Luke would still be able to swap in and have no damage happen. So you maneuver after the... Oh no, that was the draw from the commanding. So attacking again. Maybe the still standing, trying to get that cycle. If he can get the 2 trash talks back, that's huge here. We saw feint used and we saw a hiss used there, so unless Frank has another one of those cards, might not have the option to stop the cycling. Okay, does get it though. That's pretty big. It also puts Luke at pretty low card count. Also, Misty's going to be able to get pinged here. Ditches a hero for hire. Okay.
I'll start them with the ping on Misty.
Alright.
Does do the ping. That's something that you always have to keep in mind when playing Medusa, because if you forget to do it, you don't get to do it. So Frank's been playing for quite some time in the competitive scene, so does not miss the ping. Though honestly, I feel like even though I've been playing for quite a while, I don't play Medusa all that often, so I feel like I would probably forget pings, especially in high pressure circumstances, and that's just a nightmare. But does not do that here. Might throw a, I love throwing a second shot at Luke here if he got one, honestly. There's only 1 trash talk left. You want to start hitting him with those before he has time to cycle. I think I like just throwing the second shot. I mean, if you don't have a big boost for it, you might have to reconsider. But you've used one of your gazes, so you're probably going to be able to use like a Hounds for a 3 boost at some point, to still make a respectable 6 value. Okay, we're just going to see a glance instead. I don't love it. You're eventually going to get these off regardless, and in order to do this now, you're ending within single maneuver range of Luke. Though that being said, Luke only has 3 cards in hand, 4 after he maneuvers. But, I don't know, I feel like you can probably get more value out of smacking him. Now, if you don't have the second shot, I can see not going for it. I think if you have the second shot, it's hard because you don't really want to use the glance to boost, right? Because then it kind of becomes a boost 2. Because you're not playing it for 2 damage like you could have otherwise. So yeah, even if he has the second shot, maybe he doesn't have the boost value that he wants to throw into it, which is fair. I don't know if I like maneuvering again there over the glance. I guess the argument to do the glance is now you can double maneuver and still not overdraw, but Luke's only going to be at 5 cards here, so he can just take another turn off to maneuver if he really wants. We also see Luke sitting on that Daily Bugle there to be able to have the card draw available when he wants. Doesn't want to give Medusa that card advantage if she thinks she could take advantage of it at some point, perhaps. He's gonna sit on the Brazier, perhaps set up to do a Harpy revive sometime soon. Do we see the Harpy go in and smack? Could attack either Luke or Misty. I feel like Luke's probably not the one you want to hit because he can use the thing, the Power Man, to fully block your 4 and deal some damage. So we're going to see the Brazier used here. I'll pause the timer real quick because the process for finding the scheme in the deck is a bit laborious on...
Yeah.
Did he find it first? First, yep, he did. So gonna get the revive here. can move his fighters up to 3 each, and then can...
Harpy back.
I kind of like putting Medusa on the +2 and putting the Harpy on the +1. Putting Medusa on the +1 is fine too, but I think you want to secure that +2 and make it real spooky if Luke wants to go in, maybe. But I think this is fine too. This does give you more options. Actually, to be fair, this is probably better ultimately because this gives you more option on where to put the Harpy. I kind of like putting it next to Medusa in the green-blue because if you put it where it is now, Misty can attack it with a single maneuver. Though maybe you don't mind too much. Maybe she goes for still standing, you stop it with the Zeus, but I feel like Luke's probably going to keep that in mind here. Medusa currently in a pretty good spot, still has 2 passes. Luke doesn't have any inherent passes, for schemes that is. I'm gonna see a boost what they got my back, and now Misty's gonna have the mind game between the, Daughter of the Dragon and the Command and Impact. That being said, Medusa can use the +1 to boost her feint, and only take 2 if it's a Command and Impact. Token gets a bit wasted if it's Daughter of the Dragon you fainted, but... see what Medusa decides to do here. Could also just use the hiss, but that's pretty bad. You could use a 3, like a dash or a... you could do a dash with the +1 and move into Luke's zone to ping him. Okay, this is also fine. This is the last hiss and slither, which don't love it just because the still standing now can only be stopped by feint, and that gives Luke way too many mind games with commanding. But still, not a terrible result here. Only taking 1 from Daughter is pretty nice. Did Luke discard? What did Luke discard? Just double checking. What did Luke discard from that?
It was for the attack or for the maneuver? Oh, sorry.
For the hiss.
Discard. I will discard a.
Good call.
Yeah, thanks for that. Power Man.
Yep.
Okay. I missed it. Alright, lamenting my 4th fork out of my hand.
Yeah, I was like, I thought Luke was going to be at 3, so that's why I thought I'd mention something to the players.
That one.
Yeah. I've already drawn for my maneuver.
Oh no, Frank forgot a ping. He could have pinged Misty and he didn't do it. I will say that I would feel bad because I feel like my interruption might have affected it, but I'm pretty sure he drew before I unmuted and said something. Losing a Power Man is really good for Medusa here, though. I don't love double maneuvering, though. I feel like you had to press your advantage here before Luke can... I mean, I guess Luke just doesn't have a lot of defenses left, so... at least not any good defenses. Securing the +2 token is maybe worthwhile. Let's see if that extra health on Misty ends up mattering. The bit of an annoying thing is if Misty was down to 2, if the glance shows up, you can just glance her to death, and honestly it might be worth doing even though that's not auto damage going into Luke. She is preventing auto damage because she can keep going in and attacking instead of Luke.
Misty Book.
Luke is holding on to that newspaper for his dear life. Yeah, that's what I thought, Lucio. So I'm gonna at least take solace in the fact that my interruption was not the cause of forgetting to ping, but unfortunately it did still happen. Attacking with the Harpy. Could be a Zeus. The Zeus is one of the ways that you stop still standing. Taking it. Whew. Okay. Well, like that. I think it makes sense though, because Luke can't really afford to waste more defenses on the Harpies. I guess you could have done like a skin if you have one, because I don't think you want to throw that into Medusa at this point. It into a second shot is just way too bad for you.
Yeah.
Oh, no.
I'm gonna move 1, 2.
Yeah, Claws would have been solid there too, but I really like the Hounds.
Okay, you're up.
You're getting to the point where you're doing a lot of damage to Luke, and that starts to be really scary for him. Though I will say, I think I personally like putting the Harpy. I think I like putting this Harpy back in the purple corner, just because if Luke wants to come in, he has to be pinged. Misty's coming in instead, though, not a huge surprise. Depends on how risky you want to get with the +2. Misty could just be baiting. Though I guess she doesn't really have anything left to bait with. I mean, it's a regroup, if it's a bait, I guess. But she could be attacking with a commanding, which would probably just be better. Could be Daughter, of course, could be still standing. Going to use the +2, just be playing it safe. Yikes. Well, I guess it's nice that he had the +2. But that is a 3 damage dragon over a regroup. Can't imagine that Frank has too much good stuff to block with if he's blocking with a regroup. Oh boy. Oh boy. Let's see. So if you full boost it, you do 5, puts Luke down to 4. You just need to find 2 damage. If you have a glance. That's pretty tempting. I think you kind of have to go for it. You go down to 6. That's scary. We haven't seen any Christmases yet. And if you call a feint attack wrong, that could spell real problems for you.
This is an interesting one.
Putting Luke down to 4 is...
I love this interaction. I love the thought you have to put it.
Yeah.
If you had a little bit more health, if you hadn't taken so much damage from the dragon there, like if you had only, you know, if you had blocked with one of your 3 value blocks and taken 1 there and you were at 13, I think you'd be much more willing to go down to 8. 6 does put you in that scary range, especially since all of your hisses are gone and all of the defense tokens are gone. But, I don't know. Luke has to be worried about just dying himself. So I think you put the pressure on him, I feel. Especially if you have a dash to, like, avoid.
Alright.
Ooh, okay. If you can stop the trash talks from being recycled, I feel like this is probably fine.
Oh, I forgot to ping Misty. Silly me.
Oh, that's
Maybe
2
twice.
pings on Misty. He's forgotten now. Yeah, Misty could be at 1 health.
Yeah, I think it's been twice. I'm gonna take a maneuver.
I didn't realize he'd done it that turn too, yeah, but it is the case.
We're going to...
Yeah, unfortunately, Lucio.
2.
Look, just trying to find the defense, though. And this is why I think I like,
Yeah, we'll go right there.
putting the pressure on him a bit more. I love Dash here. Dash is amazing. Oof. That is not so amazing.
And you're up.
I guess it doesn't stop the still standing, but theoretically you can ping Luke and then attack him before he can find the trash talks again. Does get the ping this time. Unfortunately, Misty would be dead right now, so she wouldn't have been able to safely go in with that attack if she had taken the previous 2 pings. Oh boy, another titanium. I think you. Oh
Once-
boy. Well, I don't think you can go down to 2 is the problem. At least titaniums are just getting way too much value. Yeah, so if you'd put Luke down to 4 with the other one, and then dashed to stop his or to ping him after Misty attacked, you'd be a little bit healthier, and you'd have him at 3, and then if he doesn't have the trash talk for the second shot, he just dies. Yeah, the more I look at it, the more I think I would have liked to see the second shot boosted on that second one, or the first one rather. Yeah, the first one. Oof, it's looking a little bit rough. I definitely agree with not boosting that second one because I think you just die if you do that. I don't like ending in Misty's zone. There's still commanding impact left and is still standing. And yeah, these pings missed on Misty are really coming back to bite Medusa right now.
And I will attack with Luke.
Nice.
Okay. Luke takes 1.
Yep.
Still standing, can only be stopped by feint now for both Medusa and Harpies.
And let's see. Safety.
All Medusa needs to do still, though, is get a second shot past
Here you
a
go.
trash talk. I guess she needs 1 ping. She needs a ping, glance, and a second shot over or past the trash talk, because he only takes 3 if it goes into a power man.
Taking maneuver.
Ooh, and with this positioning, I don't think dash gets you into Luke's zone for a ping, which is a big deal. You still have such a nasty mind game between commanding and still standing. So we do see the dash here, but unfortunately it's not going to be able to reach. Let's see what Misty was attacking with.
Come on, there you go.
Okay, so it's better than fainting that. Still take 2 though, down to 4.
And it's your turn.
Helping Misty.
Misty down to 1 attacking worth a 3 value attack now I think is guaranteed to kill her. Yeah. Because Trash Talk won't save her.
Maneuver.
Regroup won't save her.
I'm gonna boost with this too.
Gonna see you going after Luke instead.
Stupid. I actually totally misplayed. Let me think about if I want to boost this.
Yeah, go ahead.
I think it's totally fine to attack Misty with the snipe, honestly. Like, if he takes it back, shuffles up his hand. I mean, it doesn't matter if Misty knows whether it's coming or not. I don't think she's blocking anyway, because the only thing that, like, a block would save her against is regroup, or I guess, like, a feint, but you're not using a trash talk on a feint, and you don't actually mind Medusa drawing at this point.
I'll attack.
Going with the Harpy instead. Probably a clause if I had to guess. We've only seen one. This will stop damage from claws. We'll draw Luke a card though, which is not insignificant.
First effects, draw.
You discard first, right? Oh no.
Defender?
You're on defense. Yeah, you're right.
Oh wait, so I draw and then I can, well, I'll discard this.
Drawing the card he drew, or discarding the card he drew, which is a get paid. I think that definitely makes sense in this case. Does not want the card draw at the moment. Probably is still standing. I think it's worth a feint if you have it, probably.
I'll make it.
Okay.
No, not.
Good call, not blocking. Might not have the feint, of course. Still 6 cards left in deck. Could easily be one of those. Luke just getting the pass off of it instead. I could see wanting to throw the still standing into Medusa because she also has the feinted to stop their recursion, and she takes 2 damage and puts her just down to 2, which means she's just dead to Sweet Christmas. Basically, you need... He'd have... Because now,
Your turn.
where's my money is a big problem, too. Basically, you need to put the Harpy in the way. And hope that you can position where Luke can't get a double attack off. He still has 2 of them, though, which is kind of nasty. The other issue is whenever Luke does go in, he's gonna...
I will play this scheme to move each fighter 1 space.
Okay, we're pulling Luke in. We're banking on him not having a trash talk. Power Man is really nasty though too. I guess if Power Man, Trash Talk are the bottom 2 cards.
Okay. Let's see.
Yeah, Luke can double attack now.
You're gonna move here.
And Medusa can get away with dash, but the problem of course is...
In this game.
It certainly has been an interesting one.
Luke gonna go
It's not
for
what I
a
expected.
where's my money instead.
Okay. And
I feel like just playing Medusa adjacent is better.
Yes.
Oh, Medusa's just dead now. Yeah, Medusa's just dead. She can't survive a Sweet Christmas at 3. Yeah. Oh well. Unfortunate for Frank, missing a couple pings on Misty I think was definitely relevant, because it allowed her to go in a couple times where Luke would have had to go in instead. I also think I really like boosting with the first, second shot. I'll have to see if Frank actually had a 4 boost at the time. If he didn't have a gaze to throw into the second shot, I can understand not really wanting to either use the glance or go for the hounds, because the hounds was still going to be valuable. At that point, either stopping still standings or getting damage into Luke like one did. Actually, I think both of them got into. Why is Medusa using? Why is Medusa going again? Why is Medusa taking an action here?
Oh right, I actually don't have another action, so I can. I played this.
The ring doesn't gain an action.
You're right. It wasn't a game. That's my bad. I thought it was.
I can put this card back on top. I guess you have to trust me, or I can put it back in the shuffle.
I trust you. It's fine.
Well, what do you want me to do?
You can go ahead and put on back top if you want.
Yeah, just put it back shuffle, I think is the easiest.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Okay, your turn.
Go. Alright. I will play.
Okay, so both players under the impression that Medusa had another action, so I can understand now why doing the not adjacent, but it doesn't matter here. Sweet Christmas. Yeah. If he didn't have it, he was guaranteed to draw it. I'll turn it up for the players.
I could have. Apparently, did you not have? Where's your last cancel? You didn't have it.
In the deck still.
I should have just been more aggressive. But hey, good game. You played it well. I should have, probably what. So your bottom 2 cards were your recursion and your cancel. Dude, that's a rough one. I was overthinking it. I should have just gone for it.
That's
brutal,
the curse
though.
I suffer through. That
was brutal. I had all of my big cards early, and I had no other defenses, so I kind of lost. I mean, I didn't take a lot of early damage, but I didn't have much left over for the end.
Your 4s going away was huge because it meant I could attack Medusa and know you couldn't block higher than a 3.
Yeah.
And even if you canceled, I'm swinging 5s at you with Misty, so I'm going to be dealing a good chunk of change there.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, killing Misty early should have tried. Anyway, good match. I think this is not an easy one for Medusa. It's I don't know if it's Luke favored, but I've had it swing both ways. It was 1-1 in practice.
With Luke, I did not win the practice match with Luke, so I think it can swing either way.
I won 1 and lost 1.
Yeah.
I was debating though a couple of times. I wonder if I had. Yeah. I felt like when I was at 11, I had the first decision to boost over the titanium. And
that could have shifted things, but it would have been interesting. It would have dropped you down to, I think you were at 11, so you would have dropped down to 6, and I would have dropped down to 4. It would have put me on the back burner, but if I kept playing aggressively with Misty, I could have torn you down until I could swing big again.
Yeah, I needed to kill her earlier, or kill her at all.
In my practice game,
and I probably could have, so... What's that?
Oh, in my practice game, she died turn 1, so that completely changed the game.
Yeah, so I think, like, going for her with the gaze, like a boosted gaze in this case, or, that's probably the trick, actually, is to try to get her early like that, but I don't know. Didn't work out.
She provides a lot of utility, especially with her ability to throw out the 5s and to throw out the recursion, because those are super key cards in this fight.
Yeah. Well, it was good. It was good matchup.
Thanks for the game.
Yeah. I had the stuff to pull it off, but I didn't. I didn't go for it. Should have anyway.
Yeah.
Because when
was
you threw
your
that power, when you threw that power man, that could have been almost game. Power man's 2. I would have done.
which one was the where's the power? That's the the 2.
When you threw that 2, I was basically baiting. This was my dash. I was baiting that, and before that, through the claw. What I thought was a misplay, when I think you had attacked me with Misty here, was my intention. Well, I don't know if it was a misplay, but I was gonna move into this position, try to attack Luke, do a ping and then attack.
When you attacked across with this guy, I expected it to be some sort of feint, because the smart play, I had only one defense card in hand, so I expected you to hit with a feint, then go in with a heavy hit, because that would finish me off.
But I only had one action after that, so I pulled you into my zone with that scheme.
I forgot you had one action. I really wanted you to be in my zone. I was fully ready to throw down the 2 where's my monies that I had in hand and then swing all out with Sweet Christmases.
Yeah. Well, good game.
Good game.
We'll see. Yeah. See how the rest of the matches go.
Best of luck for the rest of the tournament.
Thanks, man. You too. I'll catch you later.
Talk to you later. Bye.